So this is our very first episode for episode 1 of the brand new DC Universe TV show called Titans. So we wanted to welcome you and let you know what we thought about it, what we thought about the app, and go over all of that. So first I wanted to start with kind of where we got into this show. So we're both big comic book fans. Dick Grayson is probably my favorite character, no surprise, in DC Universe. So I was on board with this, as soon as it was announced. So what were you thinking?
When I first heard it was announced, I was on board until I saw the promos and the posters and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. They all look kind of goofy, and especially the image art we've seen of Batman's costume so far kind of looks like something you pick up at a Target during Halloween. But yeah, I'll say I was surprised by the show. So yeah.
Yeah, I was concerned, beforehand. It's always hard to tell like how good a show is going to be based off of like images of the characters and their costumes and stuff. But like, instantly, like a lot of people, I thought that Starfire didn't look exactly like Starfire, and I've seen cosplay that looked better. But I wanted to reserve judgment.
A lot of people's complaints definitely were Starfire.
Yeah. Everybody else I thought kind of looked, on point for their characters, but that was the most like out of place I thought for the characters. So I was in, as soon as they said there was Titans and I saw that there was going to be Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing and all of that, I'm there day one.
Yeah. As for the app, you want to talk about the app?
We'll talk about the DC Universe app so far. So right now, this is the only new content that's on there, and that's being released every week. So we're going to be, it's already 2 episodes released, so we'll catch up. We'll do this episode and another one, and then we'll be up to date as they come out. But with this being the only new content, it is a little bare. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's like right now the app has a lot of the TV shows, a lot of the movies.
Mostly all the animated stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of the older TV shows.
Now that is one cool thing. They do have a lot of the documentaries about DC and the characters, and they have a lot of much older content that you really can't find anywhere else. But right now, if you're a DC fanatic, I'd say get the app.
Right. It
has a lot of bugs in it though too. I know a lot of times the app will freeze up.
Yeah, we've had issues getting like episodes to start. Had to like play it on other computers and stuff. So hopefully they'll
work that out.
I've never ran a streaming service. I'm sure it's a little difficult. But yeah, I would say it's like for fans only. If you're not already, when someone says, "Hey, there's a DC app," you're like, "Awesome!" Then you probably aren't interested in this.
Yeah, this isn't for the average consumer for sure.
But if you want to catch up on a bunch of stuff, because the DC animation is fantastic, so there's so many really good movies and TV shows that it's worth doing that if you're already a fan of those things. So you want to talk about the episode?
All right, first episode. We went into this show with like very low expectations from what we had seen so far.
Right.
And I got to say we were blown away. I know a lot of people aren't going to probably be okay, with the killing and
I think this is the part where we'll be slightly different on.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen this first episode of Titans, please go watch it and then come back to us. But yes, Robin straight up just murders people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of blood, like the violence that they show, like other DC shows, like Arrow is a very violent show, right? Like they kill people all the time, but the way they portray it is in Titans is pretty gruesome. You see, like in this episode, you see Robin like literally rub somebody's face against some concrete and like leave a blood trail, and
Raven's adoptive mother gets shot in the back of the head.
Yeah,
it's definitely very gruesome. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it just and it's okay. It just doesn't feel like the way I imagine these characters necessarily. you know, because they've been Teen Titans, and it's been more, you know, like a colorful, bright, happy thing. So I wasn't expecting it to be brutal like that.
You can't watch the cartoon,
yeah,
and then come into
go watch
this.
Titans Go, and then come and watch this, and it's definitely a different tone. Actually, I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. I feel like this would fit in like a modern day Watchmen universe. It's almost like,
oh yes,
like it's that real and gritty, and like if you're beating people up in the streets, they're probably going to be bleeding everywhere, you know. So, you know, now as far as the battle scenes, like the action is pretty good. It's just maybe a little bit too far for some people. Okay, so main character of the show is Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
What do you think about? We'll talk about him as Dick Grayson and Robin. So, what do you think about him as Dick Grayson?
Not a fan.
Really?
Yeah.
What part?
Not a fan.
Like him being a detective? Spoilers.
I don't mind that.
Okay.
He's comes off broody, whiny. I'm just not liking it. Him as Robin though, I'm loving it. But yeah, what's your take on it?
So I'm probably the opposite. So I think he's okay. Like I like the actor. I think he looks enough like what I would imagine Dick Grayson to look like that I'm okay with it. He's been a cop before, you know, in the comics, so it makes sense, and it makes sense that he would want to like protect people and do something, you know, legally too. As far as the Robin stuff, I think the costume is really good. Like, I'm totally okay with that. He looks great in action, but like how brutal it is, that throws me off.
I do love the costume. How he's got the throwing star type.
Yeah, like it's in his chest, so he can like pop out the R and use that as his like, Robin ring.
His like bow staff is pretty dope.
Yeah, that's really good. Because they don't always use that.
Now you don't Starfire. Should we move on to Starfire? Because
we're gonna move on to Starfire.
I don't know what they're doing with her so far. It's very mysterious.
I think that's part of the problem is like, besides her not exactly looking like the character, right? She looks better in the show, like in motion, I think, than what the images show.
Yeah.
But like the whole part of her character is she wakes up and has no idea what's going on. And that means we don't have any idea what's going on, so
it's very Jason Bourne-like.
Yeah,
sure.
She's like mixed up in all kinds of stuff, but you don't know exactly what yet, so it's hard to be invested in her part. And I guess that's my biggest problem is like, she doesn't even know what she's doing, so what should I care about what she's doing?
Yeah, there's
and I think for most people, that's the parts that they fall asleep on. This is just her walking into rooms, like, waiting for people and, like, hey, what's going on? And she's the only one who doesn't know what's going on every time.
I will say the slow parts in this episode were very, very slow. Yeah. But the action scenes were really dope.
Yeah. So, I guess...
Raven?
Yeah, Raven.
I like what they're doing with her. She's kind of like split personality, where the demon side of her is one person, and then she's her normal self. She fights with it. She doesn't want anything to do with it.
Right. And she's not in control of it. It's like her emotions let it loose, so when she gets angry or afraid, then it comes out, but she doesn't have any control over it. So like probably the most intense scenes in the show is whenever that stuff happens. Whenever she takes over and like the Raven persona comes out.
And that's another mystery, is there's a person or an organization or something after her. They want her. So that's a big
it's
thing.
like a cult who thinks that she may be kind of the key to stopping the end of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she looks good. I think the actress does a pretty good job. It's interesting how much they because she's like Catholic in it, right? And so like, her mom at least is making her
adoptive mom.
Yeah. So it's like demon possession. So she makes her say like the Lord's Prayer over and over, and like draw crosses whenever the stuff comes up. So it's interesting that like they're leaning more on that. But yeah, overall I think she's good. We just haven't seen
a
ton
lot yet.
about her yet.
Now, Beast Boy, you literally see for all of probably a minute.
If that. Yeah.
You start out by you see him transform into the tiger.
Yeah, and that looks good. Like
does look
you
good.
have a full-on giant green tiger. Like that might be my favorite thing in the show.
So far, yeah.
just for a second, I'm like, oh man, and they pull it off. So like they're willing to go.
They're definitely
there.
do stuff like and then that's the Team Titans in this one. That's the team so far.
There's other characters in it, you know, like
eventually they'll be as you get past episode 1.
But like Dick Grayson has a partner in it who, after doing some research online, like she was in the comics too, but she was like his supervisor, so like his sergeant or whatever. So there's a couple of like Easter egg things like that. They do reference Haley Circus quite a bit in it. Like that's definitely. Dick Grayson has that video of his parents being killed, and apparently watches it all the time, which is probably why he's really depressed. So that's a big part of it. They obliquely mention Batman, but they never say his name, and they I guess probably will never say his name on the show.
You know, like most DC shows where they don't mention Batman, they just kind of reference him in some way.
So overall, I think the characters are mostly good. Besides, we don't really know whether Starfire is a good character yet.
There's a lot of mystery, which I think is going to be kind of cool. But yeah, so far, like I said, we went in with low expectations, and so far we're pretty impressed. We like it so far.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I am excited to see where the rest of it goes, especially because we know that they're really going to expand with other characters, and like it's going to be a big universe of heroes. So that'll be really interesting to see. So overall, I would say check it out if you're already a fan of like DC stuff, if you're a fan of the universe, or like, you know, pretty hardcore action. So it's worth doing that.
If you just like a good mystery show with some supernatural elements and some action, this is definitely check it out.
Awesome. Anything else?
No, we'll see you guys episode 2.
Awesome. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.